Hello guys, it is that Panda again. I'm here again with another video. We're going to be looking through this list I made, and I do want to say a bit about Island Raid in general to start this off. So first off, to start off, Island Raid is a PvP event where 8 alliances come together on a map, and basically you brawl it out. Sometimes they're alliances from your own region, which is pretty unlikely and very rare to actually happen. Unless like everybody's like super close in might and all that, it's just not very likely. And this is just like a team event and stuff where I think it's very essential that you usually want to go in with allies. All in all, I do hope this video is going to be helpful. It is going to be somewhat of a beginner's guide, and I'm hopefully just going to be going through a lot of stuff that will make people have a better gaming experience, because I know a lot of people do struggle with this type of stuff. So we're going to go down this list, and I will go a little bit more in depth with everything I'm talking about here, or I'll try to. But yeah, so this is going to be about mistakes and just stuff that you can overall improve on and just be good about when you go into Island. So first notes right here is don't overcommit fights. I see this a lot, and this means be it towers, be it on the field, being it just chasing people down, being it even pushing people back too much and you end up burning your own self out. Don't overcommit fights. Don't ego. You got to know when to back off. I've seen this in like a lot of brackets where people will bait people and try to get their marches to, come wherever, and then basically they get beat down because everyone's just putting them into a trap. Don't ego that kind of stuff. If you're pushing people back or you're struggling, make sure you wait until your allies are able to help you, be it on the field, be it connecting towers with you so you're able to double rally. Don't do stuff that you don't have to fight. If you're able to fight in the best situation possible, save yourself as many troops as possible, spread the losses as much as possible. Just be smart. You want to be able to coordinate with your alliances like that you're working with. You want to be able to coordinate with your members. You don't want to make your own members suffer because you just are tunnel visioning and you're thinking this tower has to go, this village has to go, and you're fighting something that just doesn't need to be fought, or you're just fighting something that you can't fight. In general, just be mindful of this type of stuff. You need to make sure you're not tunnel visioning on the field, on towers, on anything in general. So do just make sure that you're taking a step back to actually look at your mistakes, look at what you're doing, and try to improve on that during and after the event. Next is just don't keep running rallies that you can't maintain. I've seen this a ton of times, and let's say you have a 1.5 million rally capacity and you're able to keep people filling it, keep people jumping in and out, and at some point you're not able to keep that rally up, and let's say the rally's dropping, and you're not able to get enough players into it to keep it at 1.5 mil or above a certain capacity. I think in general, if your enemies are able to keep their tower full and the trades are just becoming worse and worse, and you're dropping to, let's say, maybe 1.1 million rally capacity, and you're not able to keep maintaining that, I just want to say I personally think that you should cancel that type of rally. If you're not able to maintain the fullness on that thing, your trades are going to be progressively getting worse, and it's only going to hurt you and your members more. Make sure you know this type of stuff when you're rallying, because you don't want your players to suffer. So make sure you are canceling stuff that you're just not able to keep full. Just don't tunnel vision. It's kind of the same. And I said it on this one again. Don't tunnel vision. Take steps back to look at what you're doing and what you could work on and improve on. This also this also like kind of just has a lot to do with what your members might want to say. If your members are telling you their opinions on something, or they think that this might be better, they just think that this fight is pointless, do take that into consideration. How your players feel is really important. A lot of what I'm saying actually goes towards leadership, and a lot of these leaders probably want to watch this video and just understand that they have to make sure that they're actually not just egoing for themselves, and they're being very mindful of how their members feel, how their members are actually suffering, because if they're not able to fight, you got to make sure that kind of stuff. You don't want to just throw them to the dogs. You definitely have to be really mindful about this stuff. Play smarter. You don't need to always brawl and you don't always have to just brawl, and can easily exhaust your enemy with petty tricks. Example, like a fake rally. It seems stupid, and then you could you could just trick people into maybe jumping into towers that they don't need to. You can maybe make them focus on a rally that isn't even real. You can do a lot of tricks, honestly, around like that just like are really annoying, be it like spam scouting. Honestly, I find this one to be really, really annoying and just petty. I don't actually care when people spam scout me. I'm just like, bro, why? But in general, just make sure you're using your brain as much as possible, be it like how you're building around the map, be it working with your allies, just anything in general. You have to play smart. You don't have to suffer all these losses. You can always just reduce what you're losing. You can always exhaust your enemy, be it mentally, be it physically, where they're just not able to continue fighting. You just got to play smarter. I also want to say real quick that I do think Golfry, I don't know how to pronounce his name, for actually kind of giving me this video idea. I kind of got reminded by this. But I was thinking of this. So know when to recall. Let's say you have like a 50% on your squads remaining and the trades start progressively getting worse. This is comparable to a rally. Whereas if you're like, let's say 1.5 million troops versus 1.5 million troops, the trades are going to be more even if, let's say, the stats are pretty even, the heroes are pretty even, whatever, right? Your trades are going to be more even like that. But if you have 1 million troops versus 1.5 million troops, those 1.5 million troops have that leverage in the battle. They have, like, just more troops fighting your one troop every troop they're using, right? So in general, they're just trading way better. You got to make sure you're kind of taking this into consideration on the field as well. If you have, like, let's say 100k left on your squad and someone's fighting you with 200k, naturally you're going to be trading worse, and you're also just going to be losing more for every hit you're taking. So you want to make sure you're refreshing these squads as they get low. Make sure you're just pushing them back on the field. Just in general, just make sure that you're being, like, very mindful of, like, your squads when you're field fighting or anything of the sort, because this can really save you healing costs and just make you kind of trade as good as possible and just make the battle just that much better. Be smart about who you're focusing on the field. So I've said this in a lot of videos, and I think a lot of people just don't understand this. This could concern whales in general, like if you're focusing a certain player or focusing certain heroes. So I think heroes are definitely important on who you're, like, what you're focusing, as well as, of course, players, because you don't want a tier 6 player melting your guys up. You want to make sure you're targeting those strong players so all the weak guys are left and then you're able to just run them down. So first, do note names. Make sure you know who's, like, the real big threats on the field so you're able to kind of get rid of them as soon as possible, if possible, or even just targeting the weak players so you can leave the strongest for last, really whatever you're thinking. And then also just heroes. So in general, you guys, I want to say, I said this in other videos, but range is generally the weakest health-wise, so this makes it the easiest to actually swarm down, beat down those troops, and they melt the fastest, as well as them doing the most damage, in general. So if you have those troops on the field, they're going to be doing more damage to you, and also they melt the fastest. So if you can focus them, you're getting off the biggest threat off the field at the fastest speed possible, which is just really efficient. So make sure you're focusing range heroes. Make sure you're focusing rider heroes after that, because they're the next easiest to melt, as well as the next biggest at dealing damage. And then infantry, who are usually the tankiest and just put up the least numbers, and of course usually have a lot of tank heroes, meaning that they're putting out less damage skill wise. So in general, just make sure you know who you're focusing. These are pretty good things to just note when you're going going out to fight. Next is create the environment. Don't let your enemies control where and how you fight. If they're baiting you, know when to back up and regroup. So this has a lot to do with being baited, as well as just letting your enemy control how you're fighting, be it towers. You want to make sure that you're able to build in a way that's good for you. You want to make sure that you're fighting in a way that's good for you. Don't be running, let's say, into your enemy's territory and they're just able to swarm you down, refresh their marches as much as possible. If you don't need to fight these fights and you don't find them, like, positive, like, trade wise or anything of the sort, it's just pointless. Don't let them control how you're fighting. Don't let them drag you to where they want you to fight, whereas, like, maybe their allies are able to get in and kind of help them and all that kind of stuff. Just in general, you got to be mindful of this stuff. Make sure you're always taking a step back and noting what they're doing, and just making sure that you're the one who's actually in control, trying to make sure that your enemy is just fighting how you like, be it on your territory, be it you're pulling them closer to where your alliance members are so you're able to refresh more. Just small things like this really make or break how the field works, how the battle works, how the war actually goes, Make sure you're having fun. This is a game at the end of the day, and we are here to have fun and learn from the mistakes we make. I see so many people way too stressed out, I guess. Just too tilted. You take this game way too serious. At the end of the day, this is just a game, guys. I do want to say that, and I want everybody to note that and just be mindful that you don't have to take this super serious. You don't need to be toxic. Just stuff like that. It's pretty simple. I just wanted to say that real quick. Everybody, just make sure you're having fun. At the end of the day, we are here to have fun and we are here to learn. Um, Take advice from members and leadership, telling you what they think could be better. Right or wrong, it does give you a more open perspective, meaning that even if you think that what they're saying is, just bad, like let's say, I don't know, they give really bad advice, in general, it's good to be able to take advice and criticism. Like if they're saying, I think that you're bad at this, or I think, you could improve on this. Do note that kind of stuff. This really does just really make you a better player. I've definitely had moments where I had, like, let's say Shelby. He told me before my first island that I was being a really bad leader, and it was true. And now I feel that I'm a much better leader, be it more considerate of my members, as well as I just fight more conservatively, and overall it just makes the battle experience so much better. And this is thanks to people criticizing me and telling me what I could improve on. And this has just overall just made my gaming experience better, as well as my alliance's gaming experience better. Next, coordinate with your allies. Try to have a chat where you can tell them what you need and where you are going, and see where you're needed. So if they need help, make sure you're able to assist them wherever you can, as well as them assisting you wherever they can, because teamwork makes the dream work, guys. This is how you win islands. This is just makes stuff way funnier if you're able to work with people and kind of take down a big threat. It's just really amazing. Try to have like an open chat with these guys, with your leadership or whatever, so you guys are able to coordinate pretty well, be it fighting on the field, be it rallying towers together, whatever it might be. These are just really good things to do, and it really helps you. And this is my opinion, but fight more objectively. Don't ego so much. I'll give some examples here, but I've seen so many people fight fights that they don't need to, and here's an example. You need to take field control, meaning like if I'm building a tower towards somebody, right, and these guys are camping the tower, well, you need field control there. Maybe if you're not in a rush, you don't need to get field control around that tower. You can just let it slow build. But let's say you're like trying to push towards this enemy, or even you're connecting to them currently. You want to be able to hold that tower. You need field control to kind of maybe, let's say, get to that tower. Then you guys need to coordinate together. You guys need to get ready, and you guys need to rush the field and push them off. You don't need to take fights sometimes when they're just running around the field around your bases, right? Like let's say you're not in a situation where you're forced to fight them. Don't take the fight if you don't need to take the fight. It's definitely pretty simple in that situation. Just be mindful about that stuff. Don't take fights that you don't need to all the time. You could really burn out, especially if you're less of a spender alliance and you have a very big limit on how much you're able to heal or fight. Just in general, be mindful of that. And that kind of, here's another example. You need field control around your rally. Let's say you're trying to fill your rally and keep it full, and you're rallying a tower or something. You want to keep field control around that rally, because obviously those players who are joining the rally, you don't want them just getting beat down on by the alliance holding your rally down, right? That's just giving them free kills and giving your members a bigger hospital bill. Just kind of stuff like that. And then allies. Okay, so this is talking about when you're making allies. So you are not above everyone, and I think it's really bad when you act like a sorry. So when you're big or small, so you're not above everyone and act like that. So be it big or small, you have to be humble in islands. It's a no man's land. Make allies with fair agreements, and I will give some examples. Big alliance might demand first place, and I've seen this, and it may work sometimes, right? Let's say like you have a 4 billion alliance and maybe a bracket full of 3 and 2 billion alliances. This island is more likely to dominate as long as they have like really strong players comparable to the enemies, right? So in general, it's good for people to maybe leech off them if you're a weak alliance and you really do need someone to place well with. But let's say this big alliance is still threatened by these other alliances. You want to be more fair. You don't want to be you don't want to be arrogant, and you can't act like all these alliances are nothing compared to you. These are going to be your allies, and they are respectable players for the most part, right? They're going to be sticking their neck out to help you. You should just be really fair with how you're agreeing with stuff. Like with my island with Fox, Doom, Vin, we had made an agreement where we would give the top kill point like placement. We'd be doing rankings based off kill points, meaning that whatever alliance put up how many kill points would get a higher rank. So Fox had gotten the most kill points in the whole island, and that meant that contributed the most towards the whole fight. So we said, all right, you guys get first place, and I guess Prime had gotten second in kill points, Vin got third, and then Doom got fourth, and that was just how it was, because it was pretty fair, and we were also more even on our might. And even though some were actually smaller than others, it was just more of a fair, way to rank the things, especially if we're contributing more, And there's also just, like I said, here, there's another good way to maybe make agreements if your alliances are fine with it. Let's say you're the big alliance here and you're going to be contributing more, or you're going to be putting up more work. So just be mindful of that kind of stuff and try to maybe, let's say, take first place this time, and if you guys meet in another island, you would help them get first place and you would take second place. Just an example, right? You guys could take after if you guys want to. It's your choice, but I think that is pretty good. And as said previously, this is a game. Just try to have good sportsmanship, guys. We're all here to have fun. There's always gonna be a winner or a loser. Just really try. I mean, I feel like this is something that kind of stresses me out sometimes when so many people are being toxic, be it in chat or just in general. It's really annoying, and it's just bad for the game. Being toxic, it's really bad for the environment and everyone. If we all just hug it out, we're gonna have a good time, okay? And lastly, think of your team. If you're a leader, you should know what fights to take and what fights not to take. This isn't an ego fight. Don't go into a fight that's impossible. I think it's really good to think about your players. I gave a good example here. If you're a 2 billion alliance and you're fighting a 6 billion alliance, of course this is this is subjective to different situations, but let's say you do have a ton of allies and you think that your alliance is going to have an impact on this, and your allies and you could possibly overcome this 6 billion alliance. This would be a good goal to fight towards. You could maybe eat the losses that you might take, even if you're trading bad, if you think that you're having a good impact, and maybe just trying to kind of hold them down on you somewhat, and kind of maybe, let's say, stretching their focus on you. This might be a good way to do it, just being there, right? But if it's like a 2 bill alliance versus 6 bill alliance, you've got no whales. Let's say you have a 40 million player and they have a 100 million player. You're going to be taking really bad trades on towers or anything. You're not going to be able to fight this dude on the field. You're going to get totally murdered. Just in that general, right, statement. And you have no allies and can't see any assistance coming. Don't clash. Just don't clash. If you guys see that this situation is pointless, try your best to maybe get your level 6 village or something. And if you can't come to any agreements, I think it's better for you to just get out. And I'll give an example of something recently that happened. G1, HMB and RPG allied, and all the alliances thought, okay, this is pointless. Even if we fight these guys, we're going to get absolutely slaughtered. We're going to be feeding kills, and we're going to have nothing anyways. So what is the point of fighting here? And that's what they did. Everybody backed out because they got their level 6 rewards, and they said, we will fight another day. We can just fight in another island. That was a really good choice. I do hope this video somewhat helped. I know I blabbed quite a lot in this video, but I do appreciate you guys, and I really do hope that this kind of beginner's guide where I'm just blabbing about stuff that can kind of help you. Hopefully it does help. I do appreciate you guys as always though, and I hope you guys have an amazing day or night, and I appreciate it. Peace out.